It sounds great on paper, but in reality, especially if you haven't successfully launched e-commerce before, I've actually never seen that work. The most straightforward path is to identify your core customer, the customers who are willing to spend revenue with you, the customers who are invested in your success, and invite them into the process and build for them.
Here's a recent conversation I had that summarizes some of our survey research out there when it comes to e-commerce investment. And we talk through what's holding manufacturers and distributors back from truly realizing a high return on investment with their overall e-commerce. Jason, let's unpack the first topic here of minimum viable product here, because a lot of companies are putting too much pressure on themselves in what they actually stand up out of the gate with their e-commerce initiatives.
MVP is a concept that was pioneered by some of the brightest, minds of our generation, essentially, and some of the, I guess, best companies out there on the technology front. And what it represents is, what can I build, and what can I put in front of customers that is going to meet a minimum threshold in order to quickly start getting back data, right? Because what a lot of distributors do, and this is a major mistake, is that we sort of approach it like it's a waterfall. Like, hey, we're opening a new branch, we're opening a new warehouse, so we're going to get together, we're going to meet with all these stakeholders. Generally, customers are not involved as stakeholders, and then we put together this 1.5 year, 2 year project, and it can, I've seen it cost as much as $20 million. And then at the end of that, you have a product that has never been tested, never been vetted by a customer, and you find the customers don't want to use it, right? And so an MVP is a way to avoid that. And we have the 4 C's that we consider as a part of the MVP. And so just kind of breaking that down a little bit, and this is a question you need to be asking yourself. The customer is interacting with you. They're looking for a couple of things. One is they want to know that they have access to their full catalog. Can they get what they need online, right? Do you have it as the same level of service? Is your whole assortment available, right? So catalog. The second piece is cost. Like, as your customer, I want to know how much the cost is going to be. And we see a lot of customer specific pricing, and this continues to plague distributors because we have distributors and manufacturers, for that matter. There's so much complexity in pricing. And so, that as a customer, I want to see that cost. And then as I move into past costs, I need to have instant feedback on availability. And I know there's sort of this discussion around how much transparency do you put out there. And it's not that you even need to say, hey, we have 37 of this, of this blue widget at our warehouse, but I need instant feedback. If I'm going to buy something through the platform, I need instant feedback on whether or not the count that I'm ordering is going to be delivered, right? And we consistently see where, okay, these customers want to use e-commerce, they're not getting that predictability there. So they know when they call the branch or when they call a salesperson, that salesperson is going to check inventory and tell them what's available and when it's going to be delivered, right? And so that's just the minimum threshold. And then the 4th C is clarity. And really what we're talking about there is it clear to the customer? Can they easily find products? Is search accurate, and advanced search functionality? Are you telling them when product's going to be delivered? Like, all of that, just clarity in the whole process to remove any friction or anxiety from a lack of knowledge. Like, that is sort of the barrier to entry, regardless of what industry you're in, or where you're headed with your e-com strategy.
I think that's an important point. Get a minimum viable product out there that answers the 4 C's. Then iterate, learn from it, get better. And then when Jason talks about pricing, pricing is a ball of yarn for most distributors. It's complex. You've got price at the customer level. Same thing with manufacturers, right? You got a spot tied to a customer. at a branch, at a level. It's very complex. If you can get the expected price out there in your MVP product, you're ahead of the game. And that's an opportunity to grow.
Which customer segment you design your MVP around? Maybe you can share some thoughts around, how you initially cater this product to maybe a core segment of yours.
Part of the issue that we see is it's there's a really great looking strategy out there, which is, okay, we have our best customers being served by our best sales folks, right? We want to drive EBITDA. We've always had this problem of sort of these peripheral accounts that are not necessarily doing enough to warrant having an account person assigned to them or an account person focused to them. And so let's figure out how to build e-commerce to accommodate them. And it sounds great on paper, but in reality, especially if you haven't successfully launched e-commerce before, I've actually never seen that work. The most straightforward path is to identify your core customer, the customers who are willing to spend revenue with you, the customers who are invested in your success, and invite them into the process and build for them. Because if you build for them, you're going to see scale that, like, it's going to create a level of scale where not only is it impactful for them, but it's impactful for other customers like them. And so, in my view, that is probably the most at the end of the day, like, if those are the only tools I have, I want to be talking to the best customers. And it doesn't have to be fancy. We can do all sorts of work around segmentation, which is really great. But right out of the gate, just having those conversations, bringing customers in as stakeholders, I think is super important.
Thank you for watching. If you liked what you heard and want to put some of these insights to use across your teams, please reach out to us at dorngroup.com. If you'd like to receive more unique insights like these on mastering channel performance, whether you're a manufacturer or a distributor, follow us on LinkedIn and our YouTube channels.